Looking at an ST. This is a Ford Fiesta ST, and it's got engine light on. Euro Ford. Let's see what's going on with this. It's had a high pressure fuel pump at the back of the engine there. You just see the plug that goes to it. It's direct injection. There's a common rail. Over there I was just checking the pressure at the common rail. The center 10 being the voltage, 1.5 volts. Let's see what's going on with the fault codes. There's the details. I'm going to select engine, system select. Engine will be PCM. Why am I not seeing it? Powertrain control module. The battery was dead. I had to jump start it. So it's just been stood for a while. I'm going to see what the fault codes are. I'll just go by the memory because I've got the car running. Fuel pump, low flow, performance. That's the same one twice. So that's the idea. I've got fuel pump number B, low flow performance. I'll just make a note of that. Right, we're going to come out and look at the live data. Leave the data screen. I'll find something to do with fuel here. It's distance electronic. Okay, what have we got here? Fuel pump, fuel rail. So that'll be the high pressure volt low range sensor. Why would it say low range? No, I thought there was only a rail for the high pressure. Low range sensor volts. Okay. Fuel rail pressure. Must just be the way it words it. Fuel rail. I think there's only one rail though. When I get the KPA or the PSI. Let's see what that gives us. It's starting to struggle now. The low fuel right here. Low range, that's 4.4 volts. That'll be a max of, I think that's pressure there. See, that's not volts. So it'll be a 5 volt sensor. So that's maxing out. Trying to supply that rail with 1.4, which it says is 4480 roughly. KPA, which sounds way too low. These things like 500 psi to 2,800 roughly, unless this one's chipped, so it'll probably be more, about 3,000 psi. So I need to change that to psi. It does say psi in brackets, but I'm not getting that. I'm not seeing how to change it over. I don't see that. It's got PSI in brackets, but I can't do anything with that. Now that seems a little bit low. Let me just work that out. Yeah, I was just trying to work it out. 4,450 kPa. It's like there's 100 bar to 100 kPa to 1 bar. So then I took, oh, what happened there? That's it cut out. We went down to 300 kPa, so we definitely lost. Looks like we had pressure there, but not here. So for whatever reason, let me just see what's going on with this one. Did that switch off? Oh, it did that. Okay. So we want channel. We want channel 2 off. Channel 1, I want it to be DC. And I'll go for 1 volt per division. So that it has lost its pressure. It did lose its pressure when it said it did, but the fuel pump supplying it still has the 4.47 volts. So we did lose that pressure. Anyway, back to this. That was the kPa. kPa because that's what I was getting as a reading on the scan tool. I changed it into bar to get some idea what it was. Then I changed the bar, I times it by 14.5, so that's approximately the amount of PSI. If I put the PSI, that's approximately the PSI that's in a bar, so it's 44.5 bar. So that's the amount, if it was in PSI, that's what it would be. So PSI as well. And this is chipped, it's tuned, so it's probably running higher. And I've seen that it says 500. See, that's just gone up there. And the pump's not even running. What's that saying now? It's still 0.9? No. What is that? I should have just done this on a voltmeter. It's not even 1 volt. Right, and what does this say it is? 0.8. Yeah, so that's about right. Let me get a test light and see if I can change what that says it is. Right, test light, test light. Where's my test light? This one will do. Good one's got a blown bulb. Let's see, if I go from here, this is just for research, onto the battery, so anytime I touch a ground this should light. There's a ground in the case. Now if I touch this, so we can see it, now we want to get onto that pin. Yeah, it's reacted there. It's reacted here as well. Take it off and it's gone down, so what happens to the kPa when I do that? Touching that. There, 5 volts, but it only says 1999 kPa. Well, this just is strange. I've taken off this intake tube. Goes from the air filter into the intake right there. And I noticed on the scan tool first, but the voltage has gone up. Right, so nearly at 2 volts. Well, 1.7 on this pump now, and it's 6450 kPa. So that's higher than what it thought it was when it was running, and this is after it's stalled and cut out. I've not even cranked it. 6450. Let me change that over. So that's kPa. kPa. That's where I'm at now. Roughly, it's changing all the time, which is about 1.8 volts. So I'll make a note, 1.8 volts. So that's weird. I haven't had the car running, and that's a mechanical pump, electronically controlled on the valve. It's mechanical. So if the car's not running, how did it go from having no pressure to suddenly having pressure? I got it starting again. KPA is back down to where it was before. I had to put the trunk back on. It wouldn't run at all without it. This is a signal like that. Oh, wow. It never let me finish what I was going to say. So I'm going into the high pressure pump. But I was getting up to like 30 volts there on one of the wires. It lost up power again. I'm going to go into the other one, see what's going on there. Let's try this again. See if I can get this going. I think it's getting fuel, but it thinks it's not. I still want to go back and check the pressure. It just died before I had a chance. Oh wow, there's a reading. So it's like battery voltage on and off. Very, very quickly. Let's change the time. Well, maybe if I go the other way. Let's zoom in very, very quickly, but if I zoom out, it's in groups. On, off, on, off, on, off. So whilst that's doing that, it's like it's the ground, and that's controlling the battery voltage. But if I move the wire into the other one, I get a signal like that, which is like 30 volts. Spike. Maybe I should put both wires on at the same time and see what's going on. See that? It's not happy, is it? I got both wires in there in the high pressure pump just to see what goes on when they're both on there. Yeah. See, when it cut out, it's still trying to control it. Do you know what? It's like the 12 volts is generated on the bottom one. It pulls it up on and off to build up a charge. And then the top one's a bit like an injector sort of pattern. So now I've got an idea what's going on with these. I'll try and zoom in a bit. Yeah, zoomed out. I'll go this way first. That's what's happening each time it fires. I'll go the other way and try and get closer. And that's what's happening just now. So there's the end of the waveform. I'll bring this over a bit. See, when it's cutting out, it's not the command anyway to that pump. Okay, I've got the ignition on. I'm still showing 4.72 volts on the low range. I'm guessing that's the low fuel pressure. Nothing in the high pressure rail. So I connected a gauge into it right at the back here. Plumbed in a gauge. I've got one bar, I just briefly cranked it. I just made something out of this kit here. So I'm at 1 bar. I just stopped it, so it's not going to run. I've got no coils in here. There's no coils. I took it all off to get the cover off. That's on the floor right down there. It didn't run before without the trunk on there, the intake trunk like this. Mass airflow must play a very large role in this one. It wasn't going to run. I put the trunk back on and it ran. So I've moved away from the high pressure. I want to be sure because the low pressure is always saying it's got plenty of flow there. Is that believable? Well, I'll just try. I might have to build it up and get it running and see what the pressure is actually at. Just briefly cranked it again, checking for leaks. Right, no leaks. I've still got a high voltage, so I don't know what that fuel rail pressure low range. It's stuck at 4 0.82 all the time. I cranked this, the pressure went up. Okay, so we are getting pressure. That's only cranking. I've not cranked it for long. But the low pressure's gone up, 2.6 volts, right? And there's the pressure. That's now at 81, nearly 82 kPa. So we take off the last two digits. That's 82 bar. So that's where we're at. There's the pressure. 4.8 volts. On that sensor down there, low pressure. I've removed relay R11, which according to the book is the fuel pump. So I'm going to try and start the car. See if that pressure drops, because there won't be any fuel, right? See that, 4.8 volts. If that relay disconnected, does that drop? 4.3. Let's see what it goes down to. It's quite slow at dropping. I thought it would drop quicker than that. Just trying to run it until the car stops. Yeah. 4.34 volts. Right? It's still saying 4 volts. Now we'll go see if we've got any actual fuel in the rail by opening the fuel rail with a rag underneath it and see if that drops even more. Right, I just recorded this and I mustn't have pressed record. I've backed this off now with a rag underneath. And there's no pressure at all, but it's only going down to 3.9 volts at that sensor that was back there. So it's not reporting properly. That should be going all the way to like 0.5 of a volt, I would think. When there's no pressure, that's usually what stuff runs at. So there's no fuel pressure. Relay's disconnected. I ran it until the car stopped. It didn't drop much. And that's the most it's dropping, I think. That sensor that's right down there, you can just see the electric back probing pin in it. That's the sensor. Comes up to this pipe, it has the diaphragm. And I think that'll be there because this will pulse, the pressure will change on and off as the cam spins. And it's taking gulps of fuel. I think that's just to help give a steady pressure to help that sensor. That's my thinking anyway. But I don't think that's a check valve. So this is disconnected. So there should be a lot lower voltage than that. Anyway, that's what I'm going to try next. That's my best guess so far anyway. Okay, I've got a new sensor now. It's arrived. So I fitted it. I'm looking at the voltage now. It's 1 volt with the ignition on. The relay's still disconnected. Before I can get it below 3.8 volts. So I'm hoping if I put that's just powered up the fuel pump, and now I'm at 2.6. So before I never seen it below 4 volts unless I tried to drain the system by taking that relay out. And the lowest it would go to at that time was 3.8, so definitely looked like I needed it. 3.8 with no pressure on it's obviously too high. I can't start the car just yet because the battery's too low to crank, but I had enough in it to prime it. So I'll just get the jump cables on it, try and start it and have a look and see what this sits at. See if it's fixed the car, hopefully it has. Now I've got the car running, it's 4 volts. We'll keep an eye on it. That's actually right about where it was before, but at least the sensor wouldn't dropped down below 3.8 when you took the pressure off it. So hopefully this does mean it's going to be okay. This one was 1 volt with no pressure on it, the other one was 3.8 with no fuel pressure on it. So it kind of made it unreliable. At least this one's, when it says 4 volts, I know it is whatever 4 volts equates to in pressure. Plus that's changing constantly. Before it was stuck at the exact same voltage, so it does look like we're on to something here. Well, now it's dropped right down. So it's like something's being controlled. So this is getting myself familiar with a system as well. When it was stuck at 4 volts all the time, I was just questioning that. It didn't actually have a fault code for that. So it looks like it's pointed me in the right direction. I'm happy I'm seeing this actually, because it wouldn't have done that before. So I'll leave it running, and I think we can hopefully consider this one a fix. I hope that's been useful to you, or to somebody. I found it interesting anyway. Gasoline direct injection on this Ford Fiesta ST. Finally got it back on the road. Thanks for watching.